with our solicitor. They have repaired the walkway, the rails on either side of the bridge numerous times. So as far as that goes, they have fulfilled their, what we're supposed to do, their role as far as following the agreement. We've been going with the understanding that the engineer's reports, we can't get under that bridge. In fact, if you go under the bridge and look at it, you're violating the law. So we've been going with what the engineers have been saying, and the amount has been degraded as far as the tonnage and things like that. So I know we have a problem now, but I'm just defending the council now and in the past for not falling asleep at the switch and not sweeping this under the table, because we've been part of this problem from the very beginning, monitoring it. So, Mark, what do you have to say?
So the bridge didn't get to the status that it's in until, I don't remember the exact year, it's been the last 4 years that it started hitting the higher threshold. It wasn't until the most recent inspection that it hit, I think it's either called tier 3 or level 3, when it comes for the actual infrastructure, the I-beam itself. And talking with PennDOT, even after the meeting, the issue becomes, and you heard the commissioner say tonight, that the bridges, she didn't say this exactly, this is where it goes, the bridge has to get to a poor enough state to qualify for funding, to get into the right plan, and to progress. And I think Karen has said before, and Mr. Greenland had emphasized again, if you get into the PennDOT system, it's 12, I think it's approximately, if the funding works and everything's there, if you hold your fingers like this, it's 12 years. And I say like that, not to be like funny, but really there's a lot that goes into it to get there. So that, the infrastructure, the actual main I-beams have now degraded to the point where that becomes a priority. Priority as in it's fully on the radar. Before, the issues we had were the pedestrian walkway. And just to reiterate, I know you guys want to hear this again, that's not an agreement, that's a PUC order. The order states that the railroad, and it does not give a time limit, we're limited to this bridge alone, but says a bridge across, not the bridge, but a bridge, and they have to pay for not only the bridge itself, the maintenance of that bridge, the walkway, the pavement, et cetera, but also, anything that goes into that. The borough is on the hook for both ends of the bridge. The issue that we're at now, and Mr. Greenland has emphasized, is that the next step is going to be a little tricky because they're going to work with us, which they're supposed to statutorily, with the PUC, to try to get CSX to pay for as much of that bridge as possible when it's replaced now. The issue that I want to bring to everybody's attention, because I think there's kind of a misconception or a hope that we all have, just because we view that bridge needs to be replaced doesn't mean it's not going to be repaired and possibly, and I say possibly, upgraded. Upgraded meaning that it could raise the weight limits, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to raise it significantly. I will emphasize that for all emergency vehicles, that means the fire department and EMS, and actually the school buses too. There is a process. I have the form that they can go through with each vehicle. I can offer my assistance if they need it for free, and you heard the word free. And we can go through and get all their vehicles rated for that. You're going to say, how is that possible? Well, the combo rating, I believe, is now down to 20 tons. The single axle rating is 14 tons. But the way this works is it goes by, if you see the calculation, it goes by the inner bridge, which is the distance from the center of the front axle to the center of the first axle. So if it has a tandem axle truck, they're going to go by the first tandem. They'll actually go by the center of the tandem. But they use a calculation to determine what is the laden ability. And then they also are going to look at how often do those vehicles cross. So in talking with Mr. Greenland, my understanding is there is, we don't want to say it's absolute, but we're talking in the high 90 percentile that all the vehicles that not only the fire department has, the ambulance and the school buses can get rated for that. I did not see any permitting or other costs associated through PennDOT when it comes to that. So I think it's important that we get that out. Now, I'll emphasize that doesn't include milk or commercial vehicles of any shape and size crossing that unless necessary. And I say necessary because if it's an emergency or otherwise, it's
What about my plow truck?
well, if that plow truck is over that weight, we would have to get it rated also.
I'm at least 4 or 5 ton when I load it.
Well, 14 is a single axle limit.
Chet,
Love you too, Tom.
go ahead. Public comment, or report.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give a quick update. Oh, sorry, Jason Ackerman, Borough Tax Collector. Just a quick update of where we are at on real estate tax through the end of April, which is the end of the discount period. I've collected $222,203.61. Just historically looking at I only have the past 5 years as trending. So against the last 5 years, we are up $2,500 to where we were over the average. Looking at the last 40 years, we're up about $8,400. Looking just in a comparison to where we finished last year, real estate wise, it was $289,000. So right now we're about 67,000 below that threshold, but still a lot of time to go. So questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Still haven't got my tax bill yet.
That's a USPS.
I'll tell you.
Thank you, Jason, for the report. Okay, Mr. Mayor, you're up.
I have a copy of it.
No, I don't have that. Nothing? No.
Mayor did it.
Sheriff, okay. Junior council report is finished. Kevin, emergency management.
I really don't have a report. I have been talking to Karen about the inlet flood control. I know that's in progress and working. We've already had a special meeting on the bridge, and the fire department's concerns were addressed at that point. So unless there's anything else, I really don't have a report.
Is there anything with the High Street Bridge that we should be doing that we're not doing?
Well, with the High Street Bridge, you say about getting a special permit for the trucks. I can probably tell you that we're probably not gonna put trucks across the bridge. One, I don't think we're gonna put emergency vehicles, it's probably 1.5 million or more, and risk the thing. The big thing is, if CSX would not block the tracks, we would have an issue. And we would have time to repair that. It's only in emergency situations when the tracks are blocked. And that also was addressed at the meeting with CSX. I really don't think there's much else we can do as a local agency when other agencies that are on state level can live or address it.
Okay.
But I mean,
So what I'm taking from what you're saying is, from now on, when we have crossings that are blocked, it would behest the general public to call 911 and have the process taking place.
in lack of better terms, squeaky wheel gets the oil. The more we, document the fact that it's blocked, the more we can say specific dates this time was there. We have ammunition to take to the CSX and say, listen, something's gotta be done. When we come to the public forum and just say, yeah, the road's blocked, they're gonna come back and say, when was it blocked? So they can investigate it. So the more that people are made aware of that is actually going on, the more ammo we have as a body to address that.
And what the CSX manager, whatever his title is, said, there is a blue tag at each crosswalk, right? At each
Yeah,
crossing
correct.
with the phone number on. Or if it's blocked, to call that number.
Yeah, that's not just in a borough, that's everywhere. Every crossing is required to have that. That's the phone number. And yes, you'll be making a phone call and getting somebody in Florida. But that's their call answering.
But it's important to call here to non-emergency, so they let all the EMS folks know that they might have to detour.
Right, and in the past, that has happened, so we've been made aware that a crossing has been blocked, so we can make other plans accordingly. It's not a perfect plan, but it's what we have at this point.
What the struggle I have between the FRA, PUC, and the SOP for the railroad, and it's all for all class 1 railroads. They have a procedure for breaking the trains, whether you have an engine fire or what it is. And they have done that in the past, because I've seen them do it. I saw them do it at Myers Avenue. Do they do it very often? No. But I do really think by calling that non-emergency number for 911, I think goes a long way, because we're communicating with the people locally that we deal with. And I think, you're very right. The more of a track record we keep, the better we have to progress.
Right, and the public really thinks that it's very easy to just separate that train. It's not an easy process.
No, it's not, but
It
if
is, but
you don't get the ball rolling, it doesn't happen either.
It takes a good 45 minutes to cut a train. As a conductor, I know, I've done it. You gotta calculate how many brakes you set. It's a lot of work.
Well, I think I had one situation years ago. Myers Avenue was the only crossing that was blocked. And I was just coming down with the dog, and I called the number on the blue box, the blue sign, and explained who I was, President of Borough Council. We have a crisis situation here. This track's been blocked. This was before the emergency access road. And I mean, somebody in Jacksonville, maybe it would have just moved anyways, but it was only a couple minutes after that, the train, I said, you only have to move ahead 200 feet, and then that crossing would be open, which they did. But when the whole town's blocked, that's a horse of a different color.
right.
The worst thing I saw, I took Bella to run last summer in the height of bike season. And at the Moose, they had the whole way across town was blocked. And at the Moose, they had a tour guide in a vehicle. And there were bikers starting to push bikes through the train, and we're gonna go across. And I stopped, and Norm came by and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "They're gonna crawl through the train." And I said, no. I said, "Please don't do that. Please don't do that." And I said, "You can come out." I said, "I will take you." And I took them. We went up Catholic Hill, came down Light Street. And they looked, the detour in the phone was gonna take them way out of town to come back. And they said it was gonna put them behind schedule. But yeah, they were gonna climb through the train, and I was totally freaked out.
No, really got killed.
It is.
Straight up.
And like I said, that was the bridge was the one, and then I've talked to Karen also about the inlet to the flood control, and I know you have more reports on that. So.
Did you say that we need to start reviewing the emergency plan again?
Yes, so the emergency plan is in there, and there'll be a point where you review it. I will go make some changes in it, and I'll bring it back, and then you can take a look at the changes we made, so you have an understanding of both before and after.
He's very thorough when he uses the word "we." Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Solicitor.
Most of what I have is going to be an executive session, but to reiterate, I think we do need to educate the public on what can be done with the bridge and the steps we need to take. The next part is with regard to the flood control in that project. Kevin had asked me at the last meeting, Kevin Yeager, do we have to go through the permitting to enter the stream again? I had emailed Kevin this. I reached out to DEP and the Army Corps. We do have to go through the same permitting that we went through last time. That will delay it, but that is a requirement, and that involves not only NEPA, but a few other areas. And anytime we enter the stream, we have to do it. What
You
is
can read
this?
it. He just sent that about 6:40. That's his.
Okay,
I asked him if he had anything new.
all right, is this right here?
Yeah.
Kevin said the mapping is done and they're working on the submittal docs for approvals needed for the construction. And the next step will be working on the cost estimate to finalize the documents and submittal. So I don't know how long. I would estimate it's probably like a 60-day process to get those permits. The other part is the contractor, who, and I emphasize, is very professional, that was awarded the demo bid out here on 221 Salisbury Street. I do know that, he provided the borough with all the insurance coverage. He also had no issue dealing with the things on site, but he has applied through PMCA for the demo permit. I believe, my understanding was he was approved. I do not know if he mobilized and started yet.
He wasn't out there today
Okay.
at lunchtime, but 221. I was expecting him to be here this morning, but
Yeah, nobody was out there as of yet.
What was in the sheds? That was the big question.
The verbiage. 500,000. I'm not telling you, Chad.
Yeah, I figured.
They're gonna take all the hazardous materials to your house, he said.
Yeah, put them in your back porch.
Right.
Treasure chest.
What's that?
that,
Yeah, I know.
Treasure chest.
That was a hazardous material joke.
You can have that.
The only other thing I will add, I know Karen had asked me about it. The Clay Street property has not been transferred yet. I know the person who's buying that was seeking title insurance. That's something we don't think about, but that is one of the hangups with these properties, with blighted property. When people buy these, we all say they're as is, but you ask yourself about marketable title. You have a title that has went through litigation. You have a title that has went through the Blighted Property Act. Then you have a title that has usually a bunch of other unique issues hanging around. I believe that transaction hopefully will get done very soon. Any other questions for me?
okay, we'll get into
It's not.
code enforcement, PMCA, no one here. We did turn a property in here in town, didn't we, Patty?
This morning.
Yeah, so we'll see how there's a blighted property up on Center Street that's getting pretty bad. Committee reports, anything from the MMA? No one's here. Street foreman, Brian.
Very short and sweet. We got the banners up. Hazel McGilvery Hospital is coming down. It should be down tomorrow.
Were they working on it today? I went up there.
They've been working on it. It should be down tomorrow. Now that's down, not loaded now.
Right.
But I'm gonna say this, with only two of us working in the rain, we're getting behind on a lot of stuff. We're trying to catch up. We're getting there. It's just slow but sure. I'm just putting that out there. So we're getting our stuff done. It's taking time.
What about tableland helpers this year? A little early
I'm
yet.
waiting for Amy. We gotta see what their funding is. I already talked to her, and we gotta see what for funding they have for the table end. That's all.
Thank you, Brian. Merchants Association, nobody here. Public Library, community events.
Yes, well, I'm getting ready for the 4th of July celebration on June 28th. Possibly we're gonna have cornhole tournament that day, dunk tank. And then our next meeting is June 25th.
Who are you dunking?
You, I
The
mean,
solicitor.
I don't
Solicitor.
care. I can sit there. I can dunk.
Any questions for Jeff on the upcoming events? We'll keep moving in, standing committees, police, public safety. Anything there, Mayor or Karen?
A question, was there an applicant? Did you receive an application?
Yes, we did receive an application, so can we get together at some point in time and get them interviewed and see what we think?
No names yet at this point. You want to release that yet?
Shouldn't really give them out to you.
Don't give it out yet after the meeting. Personnel. Finance, we kind of did that already. Refuse, there's a little bit to deal with that. Estimated refuse rate increase. I read through these. It's a 16% increase that we're facing right now. And I'll just throw out there, I'd like to go at the next level up because we didn't increase it 2 times before that. And I'd like to throw out that we would vote the proposed 25% increase on the garbage rates. Because it's 16%, right, Patty? You had figured out,
16%, you just kind of be breaking even.
and,
That doesn't give you any extra in case this happens again. And you see there.
there was 2 times we didn't.
you
So I
back-
hate to
back
raise
year
rates,
it went
but
up.
my recommendation would be we take it up to 25%. At least that. So let's have a discussion. Clarence, why don't you, let's go around the table here. Each person give their 2 cents, and then maybe we can make a motion tonight if there's any kind of a consensus.
I think too, we're gonna have to soon give up some of it to the customers. The percentages, I don't know.
I think we need to, do something like an increase, but I don't know. I think more like 20%. Under whatever, council things.
Tom?
Still looking here. I have my glasses.
Tom didn't do his homework. Ron?
I think we need to do the 25%, so we have a little something to fall back on if something happens.
Well, I'm 25%. Bob?
As much as I'm against paying more for garbage, I mean, the cost has to be covered somewhere. And unfortunately, the customer is gonna be the one that paid the increase. Karen?
I kind of agree with Jeff. Could we meet in the middle at like 20%? I mean, everybody's paying, all their utilities are higher, all their, gas is so high. Could we meet it in the middle at 20%?
And can I ask a question?
Sure.
What possibly could be if something happens? Like Ron said, if something happens, we have something to fall back on. What does that mean? What would
Well,
happen?
if, say gas would all of a sudden shoot up to $10 a gallon, then that would trigger that we renegotiate and he could ask for more money. The landfills increase for
Okay,
whatever reason,
Gotcha. I
like
understand
at
that.
25%, and then we've agreed to give it to Harbaugh. Now, we could come back at that time and then raise
I
it
understand now. I just
again.
didn't understand.
Those would be, those would be the 2 things, Bob.
Part of the issue that's happened here, and I'll be the backup, is the last, 2 times at least? The council didn't do increases. And it's never really returned back down. So now we're kind of like paying the piper, so to speak. So.
I mean, hey, I have to pay 2. I paid 2 separate garbage bills, one for business. But looking for myself, I'd say, let's reduce it 20%. But for the borough and what we've been decided to do, I think we definitely need to raise something. I like 25%. I could compromise at 20%,
Yeah, 20% looks good. It's $3.50, which is a nice number compared to $3.81.
I think, Patty, you just picked these out willy-nilly.
Yeah, I
mean,
did.
those-
Who's willy-nilly? Is he on council?
My cousin.
Willie Nelson's.
I wish. I make the motion that we increase 20%.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? That is unanimous vote.
You can't just increase it now, you have to do it by ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now we have to advertise it.
So a separate
next-
motion
and then
to
next
the
month-
ordinance, or is that included with the motion?
Next
Should we make a
month.
separate motion?
I'd make a motion to go ahead and advertise it, so that
Okay, could somebody make a motion that we make the ordinance and then we approve the ordinance, I guess, and then we go ahead and advertise it? So
Karen and I.
Karen makes the motion, Tom seconds it. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That is unanimous. And then streets and buildings, and the paving projects, did we want to I saw that somewhere. Did you send that around to
Yeah, I
us?
sent it around with all this, the streets and all, and there was an estimate, but we can't give that.
Correct,
That's what the
because we have to bid.
state representative said that he thought it would cost, but then you have to bid it. So you're gonna have to approve the streets to be done and then approve the advertising.
Has everyone had a copy of the streets to read over it, that we could approve that tonight and get it advertised?
The only thing I would add is when we bid this time, that we emphasize that no additional costs, expenditures, et cetera.
Without a change order.
Well, yeah, without a change order approved by the council. Yeah. No, they cash a check.
Short Street on that.
Karen, did you want to make a motion that we go ahead and advertise for the?
Yeah, we want to do
streets?
that with the caveat, again, in the contract.
So you got the caveat. Okay, and a second,
Yeah, I'll second.
Tom, to go ahead and advertise the streets that have been selected by the street committee. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Flood control, the conduit inspection estimate is around $5,400 from a company, State Pipe.
It's actually 5,600.
We were going by memory.
Yeah, I gave you guys a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a CoStar company, that's what I'm.
So, they did them before, didn't they?
Yeah,
Did you check, is it an increase?
it's a little bit of an increase, but
About the same?
Not a lot, though.
it's not a whole lot.
We do get reimbursed for this, I do believe.
Yeah, we have to get the paperwork in before the end of the month and then,
This month, or?
this month, yes.
But it doesn't have,
I'll make that motion then.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
That company do that.
and Karen seconds it. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. It doesn't have to be done till the end of this month, just the paperwork, yeah.
Yeah, just the paperwork so that we can get on the list to be reimbursed.
Page 2,
We get the money.
zoning ordinance review. Productivity dashboard.
I forgot to bring it. I did have a couple of things, though. We still don't have the sign up at the post office. Why is that? The handicap. That's
Brian
it.
just stepped out.
Yeah.
I know they're swamped. They have, I guess it's on his priority list with mowing and everything. The festival was here. We'll have to ask him when he comes in.
And then the stop sign which is at the corner of Cody's down there at Second and Penn. I actually think they put a new pole in there and it got chopped off, and I think it's pointing the wrong direction. So I think that's a safety issue, like we need to get that looked at.
You said second and pen.
When he comes back in, we can revisit this. But
Okay.
Karen, with this productivity dashboard, I used to have something similar that I gave out, and I myself would make copies of it. It's right to know information. So I'm going to request from the employees and probably council, if you're going to use that you would have some copies here. I'm sure Patty would make them for you in the future, and then we could all look and follow it together instead of you just reading it off. Do you think that's appropriate?
It's fine with me. And it's for everybody.
It is
It's
for everybody.
things that I sign up, that I'm gonna look into, questions I have for Mark, it's for everybody to make sure that we're continuing to do what we commit to. Because things seem to fall off and then are never.
So Brian, Karen had some questions of you, but I talked about this priority, her productivity dashboard, and she is going to make copies of that, or Patty can do it, but we can all look at it at every meeting, like I used to do with the unresolved item sections. And because it's really right to know information. And she had a question, a couple of areas you can ask.
Yeah, we still don't have that handicapped sign up at the, and we asked that to be a priority 3 months ago.
Well, like I said, there's two of us and things just keep piling up. we're getting there. It all takes time. And I know things are priority, but it takes time.
Down at the back corner of Cody's, there, that stop sign at Second and Penn Street. The sign looks like it was cut off when a new pole was put in maybe, and I think it might be pointing the wrong direction. So,
See that.
maybe. It really needs checked. It could be a safety issue.
But I think we've agreed that this dashboard, she's gonna make it public at each meeting and then, right? I think that's a good thing, so we can all look at it and know what needs to be done, what hasn't been done. So, very good. ADA bathroom,
We're proceeding just as long as we voted, communicated with DAR what the worries were, quite frankly, and why they couldn't. It's exactly what we suspected. The window was way too small. So we're going with the window that we voted on, and hopefully at this next coming meeting, we'll be able to open bid.
so did we decide the end of the year or
Yeah,
January 31st? We just,
The vote was at the last meeting that we would ask for the project to be completed by the end of the year to give sufficient enough time for them to do the project.
yeah,
So it's gonna be re-advertised?
Yes, re-advertised.
we have to
Yeah.
go through, because no one bid.
Because the motion at the last meeting had several facets in it. One was that we figure out exactly why nobody bid on it. So what I did is I reached out to DAR, because DAR has done bidding in the past. DAR does bidding in projects of this nature. And they just said, look, the window is way too narrow with the amount of work we have. You know, for us to bid on this, we need a lot bigger window. I'm sure that's that way with other contractors, because quite frankly, there's not a lot of people who are gonna bid on that project because of the requirements that are in it. And, you know, we just need to make sure that we're getting the right people to do it. And the other part of that bid was expanding that window and then re-advertising it so that we can get this moving forward.
So that's already been approved last month.
Yep.
So it's under work, so hopefully we'll have
It's like a 4-sentence motion.
oh, did we, huh?
It's like a 4-sentence motion.
I'm sorry, maybe I was reading here. Did we have a date? But in other words, we want the proposals, the bids by next meeting,
Yeah, that.
by the
that's
June
the plan.
meeting?
That's correct.
Okay. So we'll hopefully have some bids to open.
Which gives a little bit more than 6 months for completion.
Would it be like the same kind of synopsis I can just?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Except for change of dates.
Change the time to, I'd even go make it January 31st. I'd give them, with the holidays and everything, that's their slow time. That might be, and if they're gonna be able to get it done before that, they would, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what they want to do.
Right now, you're voting for December 31st.
did
So
we?
you'd have to.
No, leave it go. Okay, so that's taken care of, then we're moving forward. Animal noise ordinance.
So that was sent out with the additions and changes. I have been asked by several council members about enforceability, and I will tell you that the PA Supreme Court is who has ruled several times that makes it the way it is. The reason why it's so hard to enforce is it takes the people who have several layers of this. One is giving adequate notice to the persons that have the dog barking to try to stop the barking. And there is a very subjective viewpoint as to where, because you don't always know if there are these the same dogs, same owner. There's a lot of things that go into it. I know the police and the mayor have voiced their concerns, but it really takes the people who are aggrieved stepping up to the plate. And if you talk to Somerset Borough, what they'll tell you is if the people have the documentation, and I say and if they testify because that they're required to go forward, that's the only way this can happen. And I know from experience in Somerset, because I've dealt with it personally, if you don't have that stuff lined up, they will not go forward on it because they know for a fact the magistrate will reject it because you'll get into a whole question and answer session and going to make sure that that's solid. So that's why those requirements are in there. Same thing we ran into with the police last year, the year before, the dog barking. We had people give complaints, but then the question became, do you have a nuisance law? do you have any kind of recording that can show the intensity? Because you think about it, we were gonna have a noise ordinance in this borough 6, 8 years ago. I'm gonna say 8. And one of the issues was, how are we gonna record noise? We needed to get a decibel meter. And you thought that was a shot heard around the world with the police department, because half the police department said no decibel meter. Once they get a decibel meter. Yeah.
Who's responsible for enforcing it? Is it an ordinance?
This ordinance can be by the police department or the specified agent of the borough, which would fall into the PMCA. Typically, it ends up being PMCA.
How do you get them all to quit barking? I mean,
You talk
it's
really
an
nicely
animal.
to it. So
Keep it moderate.
what this is actually meant to do, and I know you really want to get into this, but what this is meant to do, typically the dogs that are barking endlessly, we'll say, are for reasons that can't be prevented. They're either locked into very small areas, neglected, those kind of things. Sometimes they're left outside for very extended periods of times, and they're not an outside dog. I mean, I know from growing up in Summit Mills, I had the joy of all kinds of unique animals making noises 24/7. But like dogs, I had told Shane, the mayor, before the meeting, I dealt with this in Somerset, my building. There was a neighbor who had a dog that I think barked 24/7 for almost 8 months. And I, being, the good complainer, had called the police department to complain. And I believe it was Officer Huzik had told me that, hey, you have the documentation, all the things. Too bad. So, but it's just, correct. Yeah, and he has all the EMS, I think, paramedic stuff, so that'd be okay with that.
I just don't know how you enforce it.
Right.
Short of having video evidence, which on the complaints that have taken place so far, we have asked for video evidence. I have not seen any video evidence.
The other big problem, Shane, is the subjectivity of crossing the property line and the point of reference of the hearer. And you read these cases where the person complains, like let's say Jeff is walking a dog, okay? So you're walking and you consistently hear these dogs barking, and it's all, and there's warnings. And then you get to these issues of, well, they're on the sidewalk, is that really the property line? And or is he down all the time? It's insane how subjective they get.
A couple of things I'll remark here, being a dog owner, 2 dogs. Number one, at night, they're in my house, in my bedroom. And if a thunderstorm comes up, they are gonna bark, Lily especially, and they're gonna bark. And if the thunderstorm goes an hour or 2, they're gonna bark. I don't know why, they're just afraid of it. So I have a neighbor now, which I don't, this is hypothetical, that we don't get along. And I get along with all my neighbors, so this is hypothetical. But they have a grudge against me. Now all of a sudden, they're filling out these sheets, maybe out there where my office is. An Amish buggy goes by, and I don't know what dog isn't gonna bark at a horse running by. That's maybe a 5-minute ordeal, and then it's done. Eric and I take the dogs for a walk at night, and there's probably 3 places in town. I mean, when we go by there, those dogs are quiet. But when we go by there, I mean, they sound like howling wolves, like dogs do. So I just think, I mean, I'm not gonna say I would vote against this, but I'm a little bit like Shane, how on this earth are we gonna enforce it? And then there's always the potential for individuals who don't necessarily agree to manipulate this to something that it really isn't, if you understand what I mean. So.
And the ordinance is designed not for a common, this is so crazy to say it this way, but not for a common occurrence of a barking dog. That's why there's time periods and notices in it. This is for dog barking that happens on a repeated, consistent basis. So for example, if you had, let's say that up on Myers Avenue, we use Patty, so she can be part of the great example. You have a neighbor who consistently puts their dogs out in a very small, say, kennel, And they bark for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it just never ends, and it's every night, whatever. That's the kind of issue this is meant for. And that's a struggle, because this isn't just those other nuisance times where dog barking might bother you. This is that consistent, long-term barking.
See,
Go ahead, Shane.
that's what I'm getting at. You know, we've had a complaint in a certain area in town, okay, on that same situation you're talking about, to where supposedly it's taking place for hours upon hours upon hours. We have asked for video footage of that, because at that particular time, we don't need an ordinance to drop something off in their mailbox. You know, there's all kind of other avenues we can take at that time. We never have been given that evidence, you know what I mean? So to say that we need an ordinance to get evidence, when really all we need now is evidence,
No, I get it.
In fairness to Deb Fisher, everybody, she was here to complain. I did hear a complaint, lady came in the office, and pretty much a close neighbor up there, and pretty much documented everything that Deb said, that these dogs are really annoying. I mean, they're barking all the time. Now, Eric and I walk up by there at night, and we don't hear them barking. Sometimes they are. So all the time isn't all the time, as far as I'm concerned, because we go up by there and we walk right across the street when we cross the railroad to go up Light Street. And sometimes they're barking, right, Eric? And then sometimes you can't hear them. So it's a mess. It's a mess, but Deb does have some support, individuals that are agreeing or corroborating what she's been saying, so. But the ordinance,
This ordinance here, this draft says that the Meyersdale Borough Police will enforce it.
You should have designated.
Or it's designated.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
They enforce all ordinances. Not just-
well, they do,
Not
but
all.
we kind of handle the high grass stuff, Patty and I. Patty mainly first. We make phone calls, and Patty's prowess with the phone seems to get more results, positive results than
But there's
anybody.
a lot of truth in that, because usually most issues are resolved with communication. And it's those rare circumstances that people don't want to work on.
Well, you know, why don't we table this? And because the mayor has some concerns, I just don't know. I just think it's going to be hard to enforce. And unless somebody really is gung ho about this and wants to make a motion that we approve it tonight, then let's have that motion. If we get a second, we'll vote on it. If not, I would think this is the real first in-depth discussion we've had about this. I might suggest that we just go ahead and table this, but keep it on the agenda for the June meeting. Now, let's have a motion either to accept it or to table it or more discussion, but we'll try to move on here a little bit. We do need that executive session. And I haven't had supper.
Make a motion to table.
A second.
Okay, and Jeff seconds that. All those in favor of voting to table it, it will remain on the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So it's unanimous? Nobody voted not to table it? Okay, let me get my glasses on.
No, I need to do it.
New business, any announcements?
I have one thing. I had the highway auditor here yesterday and today, and they audited 2023, 24, and 25, and we got a clean audit.
Hallelujah.
They gave us a copy of the audit, but it's not to be shared with the public until the state goes through the 5 or 6 more people that has to re-audit it and re-audit it.
Yeah, because it's considered, I think, a draft audit.
Okay, any other announcements?
Yes, the 20th for the flood control meeting.
Good.
Are we meeting here?
I think it'll be down the shop.
Okay, 10 o'clock.
If it changes, I'll let you know.
Okay.
You'll coordinate the meeting place. Now, this is, Patrick's coming and a couple of his proteges. And this is mainly just to get a direct access to the access that you guys recommend. They're gonna evaluate this and see if it's a go, and you think this would be a lot easier.
Oh, definitely.
So,
That's what Terry
okay, the
did.
20th, you're available?
Yes.
You said you had to go to,
I have a doctor's.
okay. So we'll have representative, and Terry said he would be there.
Yeah, Terry will be there.
Any other announcements? Progress through the end of 2027. DCED storm system information.
Yeah, I have an update on that. So, I talked to Kevin about what he thought we should do there. He recommended I get with Steve, talk to Steve. He encouraged me to get up with Jonna, the Southwest Regional Director of DCED. She called me today. We talked through, a mapping project and, just the needs, especially since the flood last year. She gave me 2 suggestions in an email, so I will work on that and hopefully have an update next month.
And the next one, DCBG grants.
Is that what Steve sent us?
That was the thing from,
That's a block grant, okay.
Did anybody have input on that?
I strongly recommend that any, and Steve told me this before, any smaller projects, like under $100,000, they can be greater than that, but the more smaller projects you give them, the better chance you have of them doing it. Yeah, exactly.
High Street Bridge update, we've covered that. We'll do the executive session after number 16. Then Dan can take down the equipment. Flood control debris basin, I think we covered that. We got update from Kevin on the latest, and you said we do in fact need permits. 3 to 5 year goal plan, community center improvements, I think we discussed that. Update equipment, 250th celebration, stop me if increased in police protection. That might come about, is that right, Jane? If we get a storm drain review, mapping and cleaning, that's just a plan. Police SUV, we've applied, or going to apply for the grant. If there's nothing else, I'll ask at 8:01 for a motion to go into executive session. And a second. Jeff seconds it. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We are in executive.